Hey family, how y'all doing this evening? I just wanted to have wanted to talk for a minute about about fatherlessness. And I, most likely I'll get more specific into talking about black fathers. I believe it's a major issue in society, especially in America, and even more specific in the African American community. It seems that there's a level of denial that comes with this topic. There's a mindset for some that there's no issue that single mothers. Let me say this. If we look at statistics now, if you don't like stats, it's going to be hard for you to get with this, because if you don't like stats, then most likely you're an emotional person, and this ain't one of them topics that will tickle our emotions. And so usually people that disagree with it is because they're responding to it emotionally, because it doesn't feel good when you're telling somebody that that the way that we're doing things is not necessarily the best way. I believe it may be the best way sometimes for the individual, for the parent, like single motherhood. Let me back up, because I was going to make this statement. Statistics tell us that if a child is going to be raised by a single parent, now this is going to be hard to swallow. Statistics show that for children that's being raised by a single parent, the outcomes are better when that single parent is a black man. Yeah, I know that's a tough pill to swallow for a whole lot of people, but the stats are there. A lot of, I know I do a lot of socializing, a lot of discussions, and I do a lot of listening. And often I've come to the conclusion that a lot of our sisters not really big into stats. Like when you get to start talking about statistics like this, they kind of, they gonna buck. And I find it interesting. And I think, I like to bring to point. Now, let me say this, because one thing I do know, you're not going to sit at the top of major organizations. You're not going to hold positions like CEO and avoid stats. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. They're going to put those stats in front of you if you're in charge. So sometimes, anyway, that's a whole nother subject. But anyway, let's talk about fathers. I want to stay to the topic. And so anyway, and I really wanted to get, this is one of my pet peeves. Often single mothers that I talk to, more specifically, because I talk to mostly single black mothers. Often single mothers that I talk to disagree with, because I believe, here's my whole thing. I believe that children are best raised in two-parent households, when one is a father and one is a mother. I believe that's what's best for the children. Not only do I believe that, many other people believe that. Not only do many other people believe that, the facts are proven through stats. And anyway, so that's my belief. And one of my passions is mentoring boys of single mothers. Because and again, it's based on my personal experience that drives that passion. I was raised, so I'm the product of divorce. Yes, I'm the product of divorce. My mother and my father had 7 children. My sister, which is the oldest, and I am the youngest. There's 6 boys. So my parents had 1 girl and then 6 boys. And I think I was about 4 years old. Now, at this time, my oldest brother and my sister was out the household by the time I was born. And I think I was about 4 years old when my mother and my father separated and eventually divorced. The reason being, she left him because my father was physically abusive to her. He was an alcoholic, and he would drink, and he would be abusive to her. And so she left him. So mind you, I told you my oldest brother and my sister was already out the household. So when my mother left, she left with 5 boys of varying ages. And anyway, and she raised us on her own. Now, mind you, she not only was she a single mother, she was a pastor. She had just started the church right about the same time when she decided to leave my father. And so mind you, and it's funny because after I look back on my life, and because I really growing up, I didn't know that there was lack when it came to I didn't understand that I needed men in my life. But now, mind you, I had older brothers. So like they were, let me say this, and my older brothers weren't the best role models. I learned some things. I learned like how to shave, how to pee properly, things that you find difficult to learn from people. In general, anyway, because I didn't. Anyway, some things I learned in prison as a grown man. I didn't learn. I know there were things I remember going to my brothers because when I started being interested in sex, and when I went to one of my brothers because I trying to figure out, because we didn't have porn back in those days, and you had some magazines, but so you couldn't learn, how to have sex. Even if it's improperly, you can learn from the internet today, but that wasn't available. So I'm asking my brothers, and they laughing and they joking, and so they took it as a joke. Mind you, I was 17 years old. Anyway, so then mind you, let me, because I'm telling my story in this, and I'm gonna bring some other statistics in this as I share. But like I said, I wanted to use my personal experience along with this. So I was a very bright kid. Matter of fact, I was in GATE. I was a gifted kid. GATE was gifted and talented education. And but I also failed because of conduct. I'm the student, I remember I got a 99 in algebra, but also received a U in that class, so I failed. The teacher said he couldn't give me that 100. Anyway, so I was a behavioral child, had no clue. Mind you, my mother wasn't so involved. Now this is what I understand today. Because sometimes people can only give you what they got, no more, no less. And sometimes because you like there were things my mother couldn't give me, and I've realized that I need it, and because I needed it, I knew to give it to my child. If you understand that, it ain't that I got it, I didn't get it, but I knew that I needed it so I can give it to my child. Like my parents had my mother specifically, because again, my father was not in my life at all. Once I don't remember seeing him. Once she left him, I don't know if I ever saw him again. I may have I know at least one time I spoke with him before he passed away. Both my parents is deceased now, all my grandparents. Anyway, where was I? So I jump around because COVID, a couple years ago, COVID affected, I have long haul effects from COVID. They call it brain fog, so it affects my memory and my cognitive skill. I used to be a smart dude. Now I struggle with this, I struggle remembering words. The memory loss is a beast. I didn't realize how much education is tied to your memory. Like you can be smart as you ever want to be, but if you don't remember it, like I was pretty good in English. Now, it's funny because I'm always being corrected because like I don't necessarily remember the rules. Anyway, let me get back to where I was at. Back to talking about this father thing. So I started. So like I said, I was a problem child. Then wind up getting caught up in the drugs from, I call myself, I'm Generation X. And I say we're the Scarface generation. We're the generation when hip hop came on the scene. We're the generation when the drugs, when the glamorizing of the drugs came on the scene. I always talk about Scarface. I'm from the Scarface generation. Scarface glamorized drugs and the cocaine that hit the cities. And then the movie Scarface came along, and Scarface was living his life. He was driving the cars. He had the girls. He had the jewelry. He had the money. He had the homes. And we all wanted to imitate Scarface. Mind you, Scarface was sniffing. So we all were sniffing. We thought it was different. Look, we thought that we were different. We didn't identify ourselves as junkies. The ones that shot the drugs that we snorted was junkies. And so we thought. Mind you, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm telling you what we told ourselves, because you have to tell yourself some lies when it comes to drugs. Because there's some red flags right from the get-go, but you tell yourself some lies to be able to get involved in that lifestyle. Like why did I have to turn 37 years old and change my life to finally identify the fact that Scarface died? The lifestyle killed him. And see, I mind you, growing up, never really paid a whole lot of attention to how he died. Anyway, so come from that generation, and mind you, the fatherless generation. This is my generation when many other fathers was moved out of their homes. And then, divorce had hit, because prior to, at one time, husband and wives just stayed together. Now, mind you, my mother, she did what anybody's supposed to do if you're being abused. Anyway, so yeah, got caught up in the drugs, and now let me back up now. Let me bring some stats in here. Like I said, I have no problem really talking about me. Recovery has taught me to be totally transparent. Well, and when I say totally transparent, there's some things that y'all don't get, but somebody get it. These are some stats I pulled off a website, fathers.com. And it says some fathering advocates would say that almost every social ill faced by America's children is related to fatherlessness. They named 6 of them. As supported by the data below, children from fatherless homes are more likely to be poor, become involved in drug and alcohol abuse, drop out of school, and suffer from health and emotional problems. Listen, boys are more likely to become involved in crime, and girls are more likely to become pregnant as teens. Can I tell y'all, when I read this thing jumped off the page for me. Why? Because I checked all of them. Listen, no, really. Of course, I'm still dealing with poverty, working real hard to come out of it, but been in poverty all my life. I mentioned, the drug abuse and the alcohol abuse. I mentioned being a dropout. I think I did. Well, anyway, I was a high school dropout. And it says suffer from health and emotional problems. I suffer from health and emotional problems. I was diagnosed with PTSD. Boys are more likely to become involved in crime. I'm a 3-time felon. Mind you, I'm a 3-time felon with the hopes of getting this pardon this year. I need to put this pardon in. I just need to go put it in, literally. This year is the year that I qualify to ask for it. And so I need to put it in. I've been waiting a long time. So that's one of the things that I'm working on. But yeah, the first one, poverty, like I said, it hit me. Drug and alcohol abuse, it hit me. Where we at? The educational achievement. a smart kid. That's the thing that bothers me. I was a smart kid. And but there's something else that bothers me. Nobody got involved. Nobody got involved. Like I'm talking like, if I recall, I think it was like I would score fifth on the standardized test that they give you every year. I think I ranked like fifth in the state on those tests. When I dropped out of school, but I went and got my GED, and when I went to Community College of Baltimore City, CCB is what it was named back then, and they had GED courses, and I went there to take the GED course, and it was because of I was 21 years old, and my boss at that time, he kept telling me he was trying to give me this promotion. He offered me this promotion, but I needed my GED. I needed a diploma to have it. And he wanted to make me a manager. I was a supervisor at a catering facility that I worked for at some time. And he wanted to make me a manager, but I had to have a high school diploma. So I go to CCB, and I tell him I'm here I want to take up the classes to get my GED. And they say, fine, we need you to take this pretest. So I sit down, I take the pretest, I give it back to him, and the girl, she checks it, she gives it back to me. She said, you got 100. I say, okay, now that, me getting 100 on the test was nothing unique for me. But, and she made an issue out of it. She was like, you got 100. I'm like, okay. I was like, okay. So I can get in. She was like, why would you want to come here? I said, because I want to get my GED. She said, but you don't need to come here. But I didn't understand that I didn't need to take their classes. Their classes basically is preparatory. And you still have to go take the test. Mind you, you don't have to take the classes to go take the test. You can just go take the test. Now, I didn't know that. And she made me aware that. And in her mind, if I can score 100 on a pretest, then I can pass the test without having to do any prep work. So anyway, I went and took the test, and I passed it the first time. 8-hour test. I passed that test the first time. So mind you, what I'm talking about is a bright kid, but was a troubled child. And what bothers me today as an adult is nobody ever got involved. No, my mother didn't get involved. My mother was busy saving the world. She was a single mother. She was a pastor. She was busy saving the world. And here's something else that something that I had to swallow even more recently in thinking about this thing. And then even going, after I come to a conclusion, going to one of my cousins and talking to him about it and getting their opinion on it. Because I'm like, you know what? The one thing that I did realize, so neither one of my, I had one, now out of the 7 children, I have one brother that graduated from high school. Nobody in my generation got their college degree. Neither one of my parents graduated from high school. What I do know is that, like, I know for a fact my mother was working in fields when she, because they at very young ages, they didn't go to school, they worked. And so there wasn't a whole lot of value put on education long as I was working. Mind you, I dropped out of school, but I was working. Even when I was in school, I was working. Like I said, we was in poverty, and I wanted things. I wanted nice things. My mother, I wanted tennis shoes and jeans. Nothing spectacular, tennis shoes, jeans, a coat. You know what I mean? I'm the youngest. All I ever got was hand-me-downs. And we went to the Veterans Warehouse, secondhand store. That's where we got our clothes from. So I got it from there or the hand-me-downs, being the youngest. Anyway, And so nobody ever got involved in school. I realized that today. And I take issue to that. Now, mind you, similar thing. So I believe I have one child. That's a whole long story. She's grown now. So I don't even know, at this point, she's made her own decision. I still legally have a right to the DNA, but at this point in my life, who knows? I might change my mind a year from now, and I still have that right So anyway, just have to go to court. That's all. Cause they most likely will be, cause anyway, yeah, it's been a mess. They already have two contempts of court. My daughter, mother, and her grandmother already have two contempts of court. So if I go back again and they get this third one, most likely somebody's going to, it'll probably be some type of civil or criminal punishment. Anyway, and that's not what I'm looking for. So mind you, so let me say this. So I mentioned going to court. So when my daughter, who I believe my daughter was about 15 years old, which was over 10 years ago, she and I started having a relationship through the courts. And fortunately, I didn't need, I got my visitation rights, but then I didn't need to communicate with anybody else because at that age, with cell phones, I could go straight to her, and we started building a relationship. And as we communicating, I started being concerned about her school attendance. And even questioning her about her school attendance. And she would say, "Oh, I was sick, but my attendance ain't bad. I missed a couple of days." I'm like, "Nah, it's a whole lot of times we've been talking or texting and you weren't in school when you're supposed to be." Anyway, she steady denying it, but you know how children. And again, the apple don't fall far from the tree, so I see right through her lies. And anyway, so I kind of tightened the money up. Because my thing was, I always said, no, if I got to go to work every day to get my money, at minimum, you got to go to school every day to get my money. And so, of course, some friction started with that. She was really happy to have me in her life long as I was giving. But now I'm not giving and I'm trying to be a parent. And so, make a long story short, with nobody even knew, she had dropped out of school. And I had to jump through hoops in order to finally get to talk to somebody at her school when trying to find out what's going on with her attendance. Now, mind you, I'm not communicating with nobody on the other side, grandmother, mother, the other guy, because there's another guy that's also seen as the father. She was told 2 different men as her father growing up. Anyway, and I've been to court several times. Like I said, that's a whole nother story. So anyway, come to find out, she had dropped out of school. They said they had been sending letters, but nobody responded, and she fell off. She just fell off the radar. And then finally, when I told her, because again, I'm asking her about a report card and all that. She said it ain't came yet and blah, 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 not even knowing I have it. So I stopped playing the game with it and took it down there to her. And, we had a conversation. And one of the things, the principal had talked to me about getting her into another school that could possibly get if she put the work in, could get her bumped into her. Because now at this point, she's 2 grades behind. And so the concern was not just to get her back in school, but to get her back into her right grade so she would actually be in class with her peers. And anyway, did that. Got into another school. I got involved. Now, one thing about it, unfortunately, the job that I had, I didn't have to be I was doing a security job, didn't have to be to work till 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So my part-time job, in my security uniform with my supervisor stripes, I was at her school almost every day. I knew all the teachers. I did the opposite of what my mother did. I got involved. I went to her school every day. I met with the teachers. All of them had my phone numbers. I was able to get her connected to a counselor, was able to get her connected to mental health. Make a long story short, if I ain't do nothing in this child's life, she graduated school. Now, we have zero communication. I haven't talked to her in years. The last time I talked to her, she told me that her and the other guy had took a DNA test and it came back that he was the father. And I asked her, could I see a copy of it? And that was the last time we talked. So anyway, that's either neither here or there. But and that's really not what I came here to talk about, but I said I was going to tell my story, and so I don't mind being transparent. But and so that's just one of my passions, man. And so this what really did it for me, and I guess because I'm getting sidetracked a little bit, because I want to talk about the school system a little bit. And of course, we know we need fathers. We know we need male teachers. We need fathers involved, But one of the things that concern me is, like with myself, I was able to fall through the loops. There was no parent or no guardian that was involved, and because my daughter, the same thing happened to my daughter. Now I fell off the radar in school, was able to, nobody ever got involved. Nobody ever said, what is it with this kid that has these high score, these off the chart scoring grades, but but as far as his conduct, he's not able to be successful because of his behavior. So I didn't have a learning problem, I had a behavioral problem, but nobody ever got involved. There was ever no counseling. There was ever no mention of any. I've never received mental health therapy. I received mental health therapy. I was 37 years old. And it was something that I did after I got in recovery. I felt like that there was still a lot more that needed, and I still feel there's a whole lot more that need to be happening. But I'd have been to prison 3 times, never received any type of mental health, even not just treatment, analysis. Never even was talked to, looked at. Same thing in school, never. And but I believe there should be something be in talking to some of the school teachers. Now, as long as the students have a parent at home that's involved in the school, it's like the teachers, the teachers have this connection and they're able to work with them. But if the teachers don't have anybody to work with at home with a problem child, seemingly that problem child just fall by the wayside. And what I understand is somebody have to, because I believe even the children that doesn't have support at home need support in school. And that support in school, what I believe is children. They need our school systems. I would love to see, and I talked to this about teachers, but they don't seem to get it, because it seems to be like it's acceptable to let some of these children just because there's no parent there, then it's acceptable to let them fail. And to me, it's unacceptable. Not if we don't try. And if we do everything that we can do and they still fail, I can accept that. I ain't talking about, I can accept that. But if we haven't done everything that we can do to support these children, then that is unacceptable. And just because children don't have support at home, don't mean they shouldn't get support. There should be some child advocate. And mind you, I be trying to get the teachers to understand. The teachers understand they can't do it all. So I'm talking about somebody that work with these children beyond the classroom, somebody that can actually go to these children's home and have some understanding on what's going on with the home. Because then if the children don't have the support that they need at home, then there needs to be some type of systems that's put in place, some wraparound services for these children, like myself. Like I had to do the work for my child for that happened. If I wouldn't have came into her life, she probably, and here's the thing. I don't even know if the other guy, her mother or a grandmother, even though she ever dropped out of school and went back. I don't even know. I don't even talk to them. I don't care. But I don't know. My whole point is there was no communication between the school system and them. Yeah, they attempted, I think she said they sent 3 letters, but that was it. Now, the principal encouraged me to go back down there and talk to the judge. She like, somebody needs to go to jail. Now, in hindsight 2020, I wish I would have went back down there, because some things happened that wasn't, anyway, that could have been avoided if I'd have went back down there. But I wasn't trying to get them in trouble. Mind you, I told you they, because the principal was like, somebody needs to go to jail, and the judge already didn't like them. Anyway, so man, I believe that fathers is a very, very important role, man. You know, and when I look at my life, man, growing up without a father, it was a tough piece. Now, mind you, here it is, man. We're not saying that every child that grows up without a two-parent household is gonna have these issues. The educational issues, the issues with drugs, the issues with crime, the issues with promiscuity. Did I say that right? I think so. Yeah. Have you, and sometimes, so you'll have single mothers that, because they look at how their child turned out, feel like their sons, that's now grown men, turned out very, so it kills this whole argument. No. There's always obsession to the rule. Just because you're an obsession to the rule don't mean you change the rule. And let me say this. I'm sorry, miss. Yeah, your son 25 years old, but he ain't a mature man. That story is yet to be told. It's yet to be told what he have or what he's lacking. He don't even know yet. And you sure don't know. I know you think you know, but you don't know. That one of the guys that I mentor, man, listen, love him, I love him. And been mentoring him ever since he was a little kid. He's a college kid now. You know, haven't been mentoring him the whole time, but we have a relationship now. Anyway, one of the times I hadn't seen him in a while, and I wasn't driving. I let my car go when I first went on disability, and I wanted to take him out. Wanted to go out and eat or something like that. And when his mother found out that I wasn't driving, she was like, no, she was like, how y'all going? I'm like, we're going to catch the bus. And she refused to let him catch the bus with me. Mind you, I don't think he ever in his life been on MTA. Now, I'm not saying that everybody need to be on MTA, need to catch the bus, but that experience. And I think, see, that's the difference between a mother and a father. And I understood why she was a little more hovering or sheltering with him. I kind of get it. But still, see, a father in that picture will understand that, nah, this boy need to go out and bump his head a little bit, because, so mind you, she didn't handicap him, I believe. She didn't handicap him because he's not going to be streetwise at all. And no, not that he's going to be hanging out in the streets, but you can't avoid the streets. You have to travel in order to go places. You're going to always wind up where people at, the gas station, 7-Eleven, wherever, the market, shopping centers. You're going to be around people in different types of people, different classes of people. And I think we have to allow our children to be able to interact. And he would have been with me. I'm gonna protect that boy. Listen, I'm sorry. Your son's safer riding on the bus with me than he is riding down the street with you. Cause I'm gonna give my life for him. I know you'll give yours for him too, but I'm just saying. It's one thing to have you protecting them, and it's something else to have me protecting them. Yeah, something else that, because even people say there's no more gender roles. I was hearing the sisters, they was telling me that, and they was like, well, what gender role is left is just for the man? I say the protector. Oh no, both of us shoot. I say, okay, we ain't talking about shooting, but let a fist fight kick off. Who's expected? Okay. Anyway, man, I don't know. I have to play it back. I was going to say this ain't quite go the way I want it. You know what I mean? But because it was some things that I wanted to discuss. That's one of the sexual activity. Lord. Let me go back. Yeah, so but this fathers.com, it's a very it's a nice site. Very informational. I I suggest to any of us, to anybody that's out there that's interested, to go take a look. Um that's it.